I'm Andy Nelson. I'm a nearly 41-year-old mountain bike racer from Bristol. I've been riding and racing bikes since about 1991, really inspired by that first mountain bike boom in the UK that first kicked off. Bought my first ever pretty appalling Rally Marauder mountain bike. Really just caught the bug from that point. It was a sport that I took to quite naturally. Living on the outskirts of Luton, I was quite lucky in that, much like in Bristol, you could ride very easily out into countryside. So with a group of friends, we were regularly riding all the time, just more and more mileage, more and more cool locations. And then as I got a little bit older, starting to go away to mountain bike events in sort of my late teens, and it all developed from there really. In terms of major events that have really defined my experience, there's a few key ones. First off would probably be Marvin Hills Classic around 95, 96, so I'd have been 16, 17. The Malverns was a huge, iconic mountain bike event. At the time, the biggest event in the UK. I remember I was always taking the trip down there in our mate Ian's car, bikes on the back, partying, riding, racing, all weekends. The next real big move for me, I guess, was the Super Enduro Italian National Series, racing the final round of that in 2012, which at the time was the biggest ever enduro race that had ever taken place, like 550 racers. As a result of that, the whole Enduro World Series kicked off, having seen the success of it. And I was lucky enough to then race the 2013 first ever Enduro World Series final in Finale in Italy, which was absolutely incredible to be there at the very start of the World Series. Met the guys from Bionic On back in probably 2010. First met Roger Seal, who at the time was the UK country manager for Bionic On Bikes. They're based in Germany. I was starting to do a fair amount of racing locally, nationally, and a couple of internationals. I was obviously wrecking my bike. I'd got a Bionic On Edison at the time, and so I got to know him quite a lot because I was getting a lot of support. Roger then decided that it was the right time to build a team to actually grow the presence of the brand. So myself and another rider, Russ Turner, became the Bionic On Bikes UK team. And we raced a huge amount through 2012, 2013. Everything from the Enduro 1 series in the UK, where Ross won the overall and I finished 8th overall, through to Mega Avalanche. I was heading out to Super Enduros in Italy quite a lot. So we really built quite a good team presence. And then over time that grew and just developed more support from the guys at Bionic On in Germany. That relationship's continued ever since for the last sort of 5 or more years. Another big development point for me in terms of personal, professional and riding lives all kind of intertwined was probably 2013, early 2014, working for tech startup in Bristol. Found out that Immediate Media were going to be buying Future Publishing's sport and cycling portfolio from them. I was ready for my next career move and threw my hat into the ring. It was a move that I was really excited about, but quite nervous as well, because I knew that if I got the job, I'd end up working on MB UK, among other titles like Cycling Plus and Pro Cycling, like magazines that I'd literally grown up reading and that had inspired me right from the very outset. Lo and behold, got the job, worked my way through, now working in brand management. Every day, as much as the job is hard work, it's always like a constant reminder of how lucky I am to be doing it. And probably one of my favourite bits of the job, there's always a real highlight, is at the Fort William Mountain Bike World Cup every year, where we've obviously got a huge brand presence. It's one of my projects that I put together every year without fail. There's young groups of teenage lads come up to our stand wanting to meet the guys, meet the teams, whether they're coming for rider signings, getting stickers, buying merch or whatever. What's really heartening is seeing those kids, because they're literally the teenage boy that I was when it started for me, inspired by MB UK to get into riding, and that's an incredible feeling to now be sort of passing that on to sort of the next generation. Juggling mountain biking with real life, like work, family, I've managed to find quite a nice balance really, I think, since the quite early days of being away racing, being abroad or in the UK with my partner Holly. She's always been pretty good and pretty understanding of me being away, but at the same time I've always tried to keep that natural healthy balance. And then in the last best part of 4 years, since our daughter Poppy came along and then lately our son Jack, just finding that natural point where still get out riding, still get out racing, but the kids are very much part of everything I do now. Which is really trying to find a happy happy medium is pretty cool, but loving the idea of, as they grow up, being able to take them out with me, either out to, just to ride, or equally just, being out at events that I'm racing at and riding at as well. I'm really excited to see what happens next for me. Mountain biking's always been a central part of my life. I'm Andy Nelson and I'm 40 years young.